Captain Grant stood on the bridge of the horizon's edge, watching the stars drift past on the main display. The exploration vessel had been mapping this sector for 3 weeks now, and the work was routine. Boring, even. His crew handled their duties with the practiced ease of people who had done the same tasks 1,000 times before. Tors sat at the communications station, monitoring the standard channels. She was young, barely 25, but she had good instincts. When the first crackle of static came through her headset, she sat up. "Captain, I'm picking up something on the emergency band," she said. Walked over to her station. "What kind of something?" "It's faint, breaking up badly, but it's definitely a distress signal." His fingers danced across her controls, trying to clean up the transmission. "Got it, it's, sir, a civilian transport." There were traders, peaceful people who moved goods between systems. Had met a few during his years in space. They were gentle, almost timid compared to humans. The idea of them sending a distress call made his stomach tighten. "Let's hear it," he said. The signal filled the bridge. The voice was high-pitched, trembling with fear. "This is the transport Gentle Current. We are under attack. Repeat, we are under attack. Raiders, our shields are failing. We have 317 souls aboard, many younglings. Please, anyone who can hear this, we need help." The message repeated, growing fainter each time. Hayes, the first officer, pulled up the sensor data. "I've got their location. They're 40 minutes away at maximum speed." We asked. "Pirates, they've been hitting ships in this region for months. The Galactic Council keeps talking about dealing with them, but nothing ever happens." Looked at his captain. "Sir, we're a survey ship. We've got maybe a quarter of the firepower those raiders carry." Knew that. The Horizon's Edge had basic defensive weapons, enough to scare off the occasional space debris or handle minor threats. Against professional pirates, they would be outmatched. "How long until military response?" he asked. Checked his terminal. Nearest patrol is 4 hours out. Galactic peacekeepers are even further. 4 hours. Closed his eyes for a moment, thinking of his daughter Sarah back on Earth. She was 7 years old, loved drawing pictures of spaceships, always asked him to bring back stories from the stars. He thought about 300 civilians, including their own children, waiting for help that would come too late. "Set course for their position," he said. "Maximum speed." Sir's voice held a note of concern. "We can't fight 4 raider ships." "No," agreed, "but we can buy time, maybe draw them off, maybe get lucky." He turned to face his crew. "I know what I'm asking. Anyone who wants to object, speak now. I won't hold it against you." The bridge was silent, then spoke up. "They have kids on that ship, sir. We have to try." Park, the chief engineer, nodded from her station near the back. "I can push the engines past the red line. Get us there in 35 minutes. "Do it," said. "All hands battle stations. This is not a drill." The Horizon's Edge surged forward, her engines burning hot. The crew moved through their preparations with grim determination. They were scientists and explorers, not soldiers. But they were human, and humans had a particular response to children in danger. 33 minutes later, the scene appeared on there. The transport was a bulky vessel, designed for cargo and passengers, not combat. Its shields flickered weakly, barely holding. Around it circled 4 raider ships, sleek and predatory. Even as they watched, an escape pod launched from the transport. One of the raider ships broke formation and fired. The pod exploded in a brief flash of light. "They're killing the escape pods," whispered horror in her voice. Lieutenant, the tactical officer, pulled up the raider ship profiles. "Standard cruisers. Each one carries 3 times our firepower. Their shields are military grade." "Noted," said. His voice was calm, but his hands gripped the armrests of his chair. "Open a channel to them." "Channel open, sir." "Vessels, this is Captain Grant of the human ship Horizon's Edge. Cease your attack immediately and withdraw from this area." For a moment there was no response. Then laughter filled the bridge. It was harsh, mocking. "A human?" The voice was gravelly, amused. "You are far from your little corner of space, human. This does not concern you. Leave now and we will let you live." "I can't do that," said. "Release the transport and we'll let this end peacefully." More laughter. "You offer us mercy. You have 1 small ship. We have 4 warships. Do you understand mathematics, human?" "I understand right and wrong," said. "Last chance, leave them alone." The commander's tone changed, becoming harder. "Then you will die with them. A foolish choice, but humans are new to the galaxy. Perhaps you have not learned how things work out here. The channel cut off. The raider ships began to turn toward the horizon's edge. Open the shipwide comm. All hands brace for combat. I need everything you can give me. Aye, Captain. Then did something that would change everything. He opened a special channel, one that every human ship monitored. It was reserved for emergencies, for situations that demanded immediate response regardless of cost or distance. This is Captain Grant of the Horizon's Edge, he said clearly. I am transmitting a priority alpha alert, coordinates attached, raiders attacking civilian transport, 300 souls aboard, many children. We are engaging to buy time. Request immediate assistance from any human vessel in range. Looked at him with wide eyes. Sir, that's going to bring every human ship within 3 sectors here. I know, said. Helm, put us between the raiders and that transport. Tactical, prepare to fire. Let's show them what humans do when kids are in danger. The Horizon's Edge moved forward, a small ship against 4 larger ones. It should have been suicide. In any reasonable calculation, it was suicide. But humans had never been particularly reasonable when it came to protecting children. The first raider ship opened fire. The Horizon's Edge shuddered as the shot hit their shields. Returned fire, their smaller weapons barely scratching the raiders' armor. Shields at 70%, reported. That was just a ranging shot, sir. Watch the tactical display. The raiders were spreading out trying to surround them, standard predator tactics. But he had one advantage. They thought he was just another prey species following logical self-preservation. They had no idea what they had just triggered. Evasive pattern Delta, he ordered. Keep us between them and the transport. Launch everything we have. Sensor buoys, probe packages, waste containers, make this space as messy as possible. Sir, if we can't outfight them, we'll outthink them. Fill this area with debris and sensor ghosts. Make them work for it. The transport captain's voice came through on the emergency channel. Human vessel, please, you must flee. We cannot let you die for us. Keyed the response. Ma'am, I have a daughter back home. I look at your ship and I see 300 people like her. I'm not going anywhere. Another hit rocked the ship. Sparks flew from a control panel. The lights flickered. Shields at 40%, said. Hull breach on deck 3, sealing now. Dr. Sophie's voice came from sickbay. Medical is ready. We've got 6 injured from that last hit. Gripped his chair as another blast hit them. The Horizon's Edge was dying. But every second they lasted was another second for help to arrive. Every moment was another moment those civilians stayed alive. How long until the nearest response to our priority alpha? He asked. Checked her board. Commander Rachel Stone on the frigate Valiant. She's 3 hours out, but she's pushing hard. She acknowledges the alert and is coming fast. 3 hours, looked at his ship's status. They had maybe 20 minutes before the raiders overwhelmed them. The math was simple and brutal. But humans had never let math stop them from doing what was right. Then we give them 20 minutes, he said, and then 20 more, however long it takes. The battle continued. The small human ship dodged and weaved, taking hits but refusing to break. The commander grew frustrated. This should have been easy. But the human captain kept finding ways to delay, to survive just a few seconds longer. Commander Rachel Stone was reviewing supply reports when the priority alpha alert came through. The sound cut through everything else on the bridge of the frigate Valiant, a harsh klaxon that made every crew member freeze. She was at the communications station in 3 steps. What do we have? Priority Alpha from the Horizon's Edge, her comm officer reported. Captain Grant, raiders attacking a civilian transport, 300 aboard, many children. The Horizon's Edge is engaging. Rachel felt ice slide down her spine. The Horizon's Edge was a survey ship, lightly armed. Grant was a good captain, but he commanded scientists, not fighters. If he was sending Priority Alpha and engaging raiders, the situation was desperate. Distance, she demanded. 3 hours at standard cruise, 2 hours 40 at maximum military speed. Navigation, plot the fastest possible course. Engineering, I want every bit of power you can give me. Divert from life support if you have to. Her first officer, a calm man named Stephen Price, stepped beside her. Commander, pushing the engines that hard could damage them. Then we'll fix them later, Rachel said. This is Priority Alpha, Stephen. There are kids dying out there. She didn't need to say more. Stephen nodded and moved to his station. Within minutes, the Valiant was burning through space at a speed that made the hull groan. Rachel had served in the fleet for 15 years. She had fought pirates, smugglers, and hostile aliens, but Priority Alpha was different. It bypassed every regulation, every protocol. When children were in danger, nothing else mattered. Tactical, I want a full combat prepared. Missiles hot, charged. When we arrive, we go in shooting. Aye, Commander. Rachel opened a ship-wide channel. All hands, this is the commander. We have received a Priority Alpha alert. A civilian transport is under attack by raiders. They have children aboard. Captain Grant and the Horizon's Edge are buying time, but they can't hold forever. We will arrive in under 3 hours. When we do, we will engage immediately, and we will not stop until every raider is destroyed or surrendered. This is what we trained for. This is why we're out here. Battle stations. The crew moved with precision. Rachel had trained them well, but she could see the extra urgency in their movements, the set jaws and hard eyes. Priority Alpha did that to people. It reminded them why humans had ventured into space in the first place, not for glory or conquest, but to protect and explore. 90 minutes into their burn, the sensors officer spoke up. Commander, I'm picking up other ships converging on those coordinates. Military. No, ma'am, they're human. Multiple signatures. I count at least 12 ships so far, all heading to the same location. Rachel felt a fierce pride. Of course they were. Every human ship that received the alert would be coming. That was the promise of Priority Alpha. You were never alone. You were never abandoned. Identify them, she ordered. The list appeared on her screen. A bulk freighter called the Golden Promise, Captain Henry Cole commanding. A corporate yacht that had apparently been commandeered, now piloted by someone listed as Colonel Wells, retired. 3 mining vessels from the Terran Deep Space Mining Corporation. A passenger liner that had diverted from its route. 2 more patrol ships, an ore hauler, even a small private vessel barely bigger than a shuttle. They were coming, all of them, abandoning cargo runs, shore leave, personal trips, because Priority Alpha meant children in danger and humans came for children. 2 hours and 37 minutes after receiving the alert, the Valiant dropped out of faster-than-light travel. The scene before them was chaos. The Horizon's Edge was still fighting, but barely. Her hull was blackened. Atmosphere vented from a dozen breaches. Her shields flickered weakly, almost gone, but she still floated between the raiders and the transport, still defying the odds. 3 of the 4 raider ships were circling her like sharks, hammering her with weapons fire. The 4th was moving toward the transport again. All weapons target the raider approaching the transport. Fire everything. The Valiant was a warship, built for exactly this kind of fight. Her spoke first, magnetic accelerators hurling dense metal slugs at a significant fraction of light speed. The raider's shields flared and collapsed. The slugs punched through the hull, and the raider ship lurched sideways, trailing debris. The raiders scattered, surprised by the sudden arrival. Their formation broke apart. Open a channel, Rachel ordered. Vessels, this is Commander Rachel Stone of the human frigate Valiant. You have attacked a civilian transport and engaged a human vessel. Surrender immediately or be destroyed. The raider commander's voice came back, angry now instead of amused. You dare threaten us? We do not surrender to anyone. Then you die, Rachel said simply. Helm attack pattern Sierra, tactical focus fire on the lead ship. The Valiant moved like a predator. Rachel had fought them before. They relied on speed and hit-and-run tactics, but human ships were designed by a species that had fought wars for thousands of years. Every tactical innovation, every weapons system, every maneuver came from generations of conflict. The Valiant's missiles launched in a spread pattern, each one tracking independently. The raider tried to evade, but Rachel had anticipated that. The missiles converged from multiple angles, and 3 of them found their target. The raider's shields collapsed completely. Oh, finish it. The heavy slugs tore through the raider's armor. Secondary explosions rippled across its hull. The ship went dark and began to tumble. 1 down, her tactical officer reported, 3 remaining. But they weren't alone anymore. The freighter Golden Promise dropped out of FTL, and Captain Henry Cole did something insane. He launched his cargo containers, massive metal boxes filled with refined ore. They flew toward the raiders like enormous bullets. 1 raider managed to dodge. Another took a container hit that crumpled its forward section. The third raider fired on the freighter, but the Wells in her commandeered yacht was already there, smaller and faster, drawing fire away. More ships arrived. The mining vessels, their industrial cutting lasers repurposed as weapons. The passenger liner, using its bulk to shield the damaged Horizon's Edge. Every ship that had heard the priority Alpha call was coming. Rachel watched her tactical display in amazement. This wasn't a coordinated military response. This was chaos, but it was working because every human captain understood the mission: protect the transport, protect the children. "Hail the Horizon's Edge," she ordered. Grant's face appeared on her screen. He looked exhausted, blood running from a cut on his forehead, but he was smiling. "Commander Stone, good timing." "Captain Grant, get your people to safety. We'll take it from here." "Negative, Commander. My ship still has guns. We're staying in the fight." Rachel wanted to order him back, but she understood. He had started this. He needed to see it through. "Understood, Captain. Form up on our port side. Let's finish this together." The remaining 3 raider ships were trying to regroup, but they were surrounded now. Surrounded by a fleet that shouldn't exist, a collection of civilian and military vessels that had no business working together. But they were all human, and they all understood what priority Alpha meant. The commander made one last attempt to break through, targeting the transport directly. But Captain Henry Cole's freighter was there, his massive ship absorbing hits meant for the civilians. Colonel Wells' yacht danced around the raider, firing precision shots at his sensor arrays. The mining ships flanked from above and below. And the Valiant, Rachel's beautiful warship, moved in for the kill. Her hammered the raider until its engines died. Its weapons fell silent. The ship drifted, defeated. "Cease fire," Rachel ordered. "Hail them again." The commander's face appeared. He looked stunned. "What are you?" "We're humans," Rachel said. "And you attack children. Surrender now. This is your last chance." The commander looked at his tactical display, at the fleet of human ships surrounding him, ships that had come from 3 different sectors, abandoning everything just to answer a call for help. "We surrender," he said quietly. Rachel took a breath. "Secure the prisoners. Get medical teams to the Horizon's Edge and the transport. Henry, get your ship to the repair dock. Everyone else maintain position until we can sort this out." The channel to the transport opened. The captain, an older female named, appeared. Her large eyes were bright with tears. "Commander Stone, I do not understand. Why did you do this? We are not your people. This is not your fight." Rachel thought about how to explain priority Alpha to someone who wasn't human. How to make them understand that humans came from a world where they only had each other, where if they didn't protect the innocent, no one would. "You had children aboard," Rachel said simply. "That makes it our fight. That will always make it our fight." Stared at her for a long moment. Then she bowed, a gesture of deep respect and culture. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you." As the rescue operations began, Rachel looked at the collection of ships around her. Military frigates next to mining haulers. Corporate yachts beside cargo freighters, all of them human, all of them responding to the same call. Ambassador Vincent Harper sat in the observation gallery of the Galactic Council station, watching ships drift past the massive windows. He had been summoned to an emergency session. That was never good. His assistant, a young woman named Murphy, handed him a data pad. "The Council is ready for you, sir. They're not happy." "They never are," Vincent said. He straightened his jacket and walked into the council chamber. The room was circular, with seats arranged in tiers. 12 species were represented on the Galactic Council, each one claiming thousands of years of civilization. Humanity had been granted observer status only 3 years ago. They were the newcomers, the primitives from the edge of known space. The council chair, a named, gestured to the center of the room. "Ambassador Harper, please explain the military mobilization your species has undertaken in Sector 7. Vincent had expected this. He walked to the center, where a holographic display showed the incident site. 73 human ships now floated in formation around the damaged transport and the captured raiders. "There was no military mobilization, honored chair," Vincent said calmly. "There was a distress call, civilians in danger. My people responded." A counselor, a species that resembled large crustaceans, clicked his mandibles. 73 vessels is not a response. It is an invasion force, and they came from multiple sectors, abandoning their assigned routes and duties. This shows either military coordination or dangerous chaos. It shows compassion, Vincent replied. The transport was under attack by raiders. 300 civilians were at risk, including many children. Our protocols are clear. When children are in danger, we respond. A counselor, tall and thin with skin, leaned forward. Your protocols supersede galactic law. You claim the right to deploy military force anywhere without council approval. We claim the right to protect innocents, Vincent said. And most of those ships weren't military. They were cargo haulers, mining vessels, private yachts, citizens who heard the call and came to help. Scales rippled, a sign of confusion. You expect us to believe that civilian captains abandoned profitable cargo runs and personal journeys to defend strangers from another species, for no compensation. Yes, Vincent said simply, because that's what humans do. The council chamber erupted in discussion. Several counselors spoke at once, their translators creating a wall of noise. Vincent waited patiently. He had learned that the council loved to debate. Sometimes he thought they loved it more than actually doing anything. Finally called for order. Ambassador, we understand that humans are a young species, still learning the complexities of galactic politics. But you must understand that this kind of unilateral action creates instability. The clans will not accept this humiliation. Your actions may have started a war. They started the war when they attacked civilians, Vincent said. His voice was harder now. And if protecting children means instability, then the galaxy needs more instability. A counselor, a large being that looked like a living mountain, spoke in a rumbling voice. Bold words for a species barely capable of faster-than-light travel. What will you do when the clans send a proper war fleet to answer this insult? Vincent smiled. It wasn't a friendly expression. Then we'll send a proper fleet to meet them. You have no proper fleet, they said. Your species has, 200 warships that can field thousands. Numbers aren't everything, Vincent said, and we have something that don't. What is that? A reason to fight. Before the counselor could respond, Vincent's communicator buzzed. He glanced at it and felt his stomach drop. The message was from Earth Command. It was short and direct. 3rd Fleet deploying, Admiral Foster commanding, ETA to incident site 6 days. He looked up at the council. Honored members, I have just received word that our 3rd Fleet is en route to the incident site. 42 warships, including 3 carriers. They will arrive in 6 days to ensure the safety of the transport and to establish a presence in the region. The council chamber exploded again. This time couldn't restore order for several minutes. This is unacceptable, the counselor shouted. You cannot deploy a battle fleet without council approval. This violates every treaty. Show me the treaty that says we can't protect civilians, Vincent challenged. Show me the law that prohibits defending children from pirates. The council is responsible for peacekeeping, said. We have protocols for these situations. Your protocols take weeks, Vincent said. Those civilians had minutes. Captain Grant and the Horizon's Edge gave them those minutes. Commander Stone and the Valiant gave them hours. Now the 3rd Fleet will make sure they're safe for as long as necessary. A new voice spoke up. It was in the counselor. There were warriors, a species that respected strength. Ambassador Harper, I must speak frankly. Your people have courage, but you are provoking a response you cannot handle. The clans will see this as a challenge to their dominance. They will respond with overwhelming force. Vincent respected and they didn't lie or play political games. Then we'll face that when it comes, but we won't apologize for saving lives. No one asks you to apologize, and said. I ask you to prepare. They are not like your previous enemies. They are brutal and efficient. They will target your colonies, your trade routes, your civilian populations. They will make you regret this intervention. Let them try, Vincent said quietly. Let them see what happens when they threaten human civilians. The meeting continued for 2 more hours, but nothing was resolved. The council could not agree on whether to condemn the human action, support it, or simply observe. In the end, they did what they always did. They formed a committee to study the issue and scheduled another meeting for the following week. Vincent left the chamber exhausted, was waiting in the hallway. How did it go? She asked. About as well as expected. The council is worried we've started a war. Have we? Vincent thought about Captain Grant, wounded but alive, still commanding the Horizon's Edge. About Commander Stone, who had pushed her ship to the breaking point to arrive in time. About Henry Cole, who had turned cargo containers into weapons. About all the humans who had heard Priority Alpha and come running. "I don't think we started it," he said, "but we might finish it." His communicator buzzed again. This time it was a private message from N. Vincent read it and frowned. "What is it?" asked. "And wants to meet, privately. He says there's something I need to know about the—" They met in a small cafe on the station's recreation level, and sat in a corner booth, his large frame barely fitting in the space designed for smaller species. Vincent slid in across from him. "Thank you for coming," and said. "I could not speak freely in the council chamber." "What's this about?" "The clans are more dangerous than you know. They have been expanding for decades, pushing into new territories, raiding with impunity. The council does nothing because they are careful. They attack species too weak to fight back, too scattered to unite. They avoid targets that would force the council to act." "Until now," Vincent said. "Until now," and agreed. "By defending you have done something unprecedented. You have shown that there is a species willing to fight for others, not just for themselves. They cannot allow that to stand. It threatens their entire strategy." "So they'll come for us?" "Yes, and not just raiders. The commander you defeated is clan leader or second son. You have humiliated him personally. He will respond with a war fleet." Vincent absorbed this. "When?" "Days, a week at most. They will strike at the incident site first to reclaim their honor. Then they will likely attack human colonies or trade routes. The third fleet will be there in 6 days." "I know, that is why I am telling you this. Your Admiral Foster is walking into a trap, or will bring enough ships to crush your fleet. He wants to make an example of humanity, to show the galaxy what happens when you interfere with business." Vincent felt cold. "How many ships?" "My intelligence suggests at least 100, perhaps more." 100 ships against 42. The math was brutal. But Vincent thought about Grant, facing 4 raiders with a single survey ship. About Rachel Stone, pushing her engines past safe limits because children were in danger. "I need to warn Admiral Foster," he said. "I know, but Ambassador, there is something else you should know. They have been watching your species since you entered the galactic stage. We find you fascinating. Violent, yes, aggressive, but also honorable. When your captain sent that Priority Alpha signal, when your ships came from 3 sectors away to save strangers, it reminded us of something we have lost." "What's that?" "The willingness to fight for something bigger than ourselves." And stood, his massive frame towering over the booth. "The council is divided on what to do about your conflict with the... But I want you to know, Ambassador, that you have allies, even if they cannot speak openly yet." Vincent watched the warrior leave. Then he pulled out his communicator and sent an urgent message to Earth Command. Admiral Foster needed to know what was coming. But even as he typed, Vincent couldn't help but feel a strange sense of pride. Humanity had been in space for less than 20 years. They were the newcomers, the primitives, and they had just made themselves the clan's primary target. Admiral Foster stood on the bridge of the carrier Indomitable, watching the tactical display. The third fleet had arrived at the incident site 3 hours ago. Now they waited. "Admiral, long-range sensors are picking up multiple contacts," her sensor officer reported. "Designated as hostile. Count is at 56 ships. No, wait, 73, still climbing." Had expected this. Ambassador Harper's warning had been clear. They were coming in force. Wanted revenge for his humiliation, and his father wanted to make an example of humanity. "Final count?" she asked. 104 ships, ma'am. All signatures. Mix of cruisers, destroyers, and what looks like 3 battleships. Her first officer, Commander Gary White, looked at the numbers. "We're outnumbered better than 2 to 1, Admiral." "I can count," Gary said, but she smiled slightly. "Good thing we had time to prepare." The last 6 days had been busy. The civilian ships that responded to the Priority Alpha had mostly departed, escorted to safety by a few patrol vessels. But volunteers had stayed behind, integrating with the Third Fleet. The transport had been repaired enough to limp to a nearby station under guard, and had used every hour to turn this region of space into a nightmare for anyone attacking it. "Status on the defensive perimeter?" she asked. "All mines deployed and active. Sensor nets online, point defense platforms positioned. The asteroid field has been seeded with kinetic kill vehicles. Everything is ready, Admiral." nodded, the thought they were attacking a simple fleet deployment. They had no idea they were flying into a prepared battlefield. Open a channel to all ships. I want everyone to hear this. When the channel opened, spoke clearly. All hands, this is Admiral Foster. The fleet is 6 hours out. They outnumber us. Their ships are larger. On paper, we should lose this fight, but we're not fighting on paper. We're fighting for something that matters. 6 days ago, Captain Grant and the Horizon's Edge put themselves between raiders and innocent civilians. They bought time with their own lives. Now it's our turn. We're going to show and everyone watching what humans do when you threaten children. We're going to win. Battle stations. The Third Fleet moved into formation. 42 warships arranged in a pattern had spent days perfecting. It looked defensive, almost passive. That was exactly what she wanted it to think. Captain Grant contacted her from the Horizon's Edge. His ship had been repaired enough to fight, though it would never be the same. He had refused to leave. Admiral, the Horizon's Edge is ready. You've done enough. No one would blame you for sitting this one out. With respect, ma'am, I started this. I need to see it through. Understood. Understood, Captain. You're assigned to the reserve squadron. If things go bad, you get our wounded out. Clear. Clear, Admiral. Commander Stone's voice came through next. Admiral, the Valiant is ready. We've got full magazines and hungry guns. Good hunting, Rachel. You know your role. Yes, ma'am. Hit them where it hurts. Cut the channel and turn to her tactical officer, Lieutenant Commander Alex. Alex, you ready? Fighter squadrons are prepped and loaded. We've been running drills for 6 days straight. My pilots are sharp. They'll need to be. They are going to come in fast and hard. They're used to overwhelming their enemies with numbers. Then they're in for a surprise, Admiral. 4 hours later, the fleet arrived. They dropped out of faster-than-light travel in perfect formation, a wall of ships designed to intimidate. At the center flew the flagship, a massive battleship twice the size of the Indomitable. A voice boomed across all channels. Human vessels, this is clan leader, or you have attacked my son and humiliated my clan. You have interfered in matters that do not concern you. For these insults, you will be destroyed. Surrender now, and I will make your deaths quick. Opened a return channel. Or this is Admiral Foster. Your son attacked civilians and murdered refugees in escape pods. We stopped him. If you're looking for revenge, you're welcome to try, but I promise you this won't go the way you think. Brave words from a species barely capable of space travel. You have 42 ships. I have 104. The outcome is certain. Then come find out, said. We'll be right here. She cut the channel and looked at her crew. Here we go. Execute Plan Delta. The fleet advanced in a standard attack formation. Fast ships on the flanks, heavy hitters in the center, battleships in the rear. They had done this 1,000 times against 100 different species. It always worked. The first mine detonated when a cruiser crossed the perimeter. The explosion vaporized the ship instantly. Then another mine went off, and another. The formation scattered as ships tried to avoid the invisible minefield. Now ordered. The human fleet didn't advance. Instead, platforms hidden in the nearby asteroids opened fire. Dense metal slugs traveling at impossible speeds tore into the confused ships. 3 cruisers died in the first salvo. Or's voice came back, angry now. Cowardly tactics. You hide behind traps instead of fighting with honor. I'll take cowardly and alive over honorable and dead, replied. And we're just getting started. Alex's fighter squadrons launched. Small, fast craft poured from the Indomitable and the 2 other carriers. Human pilots, trained on Earth's brutal gravity, could handle maneuvers that would kill most species. They dove into the formation like sharks. They tried to adjust, but they were fighting the way humans had designed the battlefield. Every tactic they used had a counter. When they tried to flank, they hit the kinetic kill vehicles. When they pressed forward, Rachel Stone's Valiant and 6 other frigates hit them from an unexpected angle. Watch the tactical display. The numbers were still against them, but there were bleeding ships. And more importantly, they were getting frustrated. Admiral, the battleships are moving forward, Gary reported. Good, that's what we want. When they reach firing range, signal the Indomitable's special surprise. The 3 battleships were massive, powerful ships designed to break through any defense. Their shields could absorb incredible punishment. Their weapons could destroy smaller ships with a single shot. They advanced slowly, targeting the human carriers. If they could destroy the carriers, the human fighters would have nowhere to land. The battle would be over. One battleship fired. The beam weapon cut through space, bright and deadly. It struck the Indomitable's shields and the ship shuddered. "Shields at 60%, Gary reported. "Return fire," ordered. "All missiles full spread." The Indomitable's missile bays opened. Hundreds of missiles launched in a coordinated pattern, each one tracking independently. The battleship's point defense systems tried to shoot them down, but there were too many coming from too many angles. 30 missiles found their target. The battleship's shields flared and collapsed. More missiles struck the hull and the massive ship began to list. But the other two battleships were still coming. Andor's flagship was moving up, its weapons charging. "Ma'am, we can't take another hit like that," Gary said. Looked at the tactical display. They were committed now. Their entire fleet was pushing forward, trying to crush the human defenders through sheer force. It was exactly what she wanted. "Signal all ships," she said. "Execute maneuver Theta now." The human fleet had been arranged in what looked like a defensive sphere, but it was actually something else, a trap within a trap. The ships suddenly accelerated, not away from them but toward them, and as they moved, they revealed what had been hidden behind them. 30 automated weapons platforms powered up and targeting. The platforms opened fire simultaneously. Rail guns, missiles, and beam weapons all struck the fleet from behind. They had been so focused on the human ships in front of them, they hadn't realized there was a second layer to the defense. More ships died. The neat formation dissolved into chaos. Ships collided trying to evade. Commanders shouted conflicting orders. And Alex's fighters were everywhere, exploiting every gap, every mistake. Human pilots flew like demons, pulling turns that should have been impossible. Or's flagship took a direct hit from a platform. Its shields held, but barely. The clan leader's voice came across the channel again, but this time there was no arrogance, only anger. "You fight like vermin, hiding and striking from shadows." "We fight to win," replied. "And we're fighting for children you tried to kill. That makes us dangerous, or because we're not fighting for glory or profit. We're fighting because it's right." She turned to Gary. "Time to end this. Signal Commander Stone, execute the final phase." Rachel Stone had been waiting. The Valiant and 12 other fast attack ships had been holding back, pretending to be damaged. Now they accelerated to maximum speed, cutting through the formation like knives. Their target was Or's flagship. They tried to protect their leader, but they were out of position. The human ships came from 3 directions at once, their weapons synchronized. The flagship's shields took hit after hit. They held for 10 seconds, 20. Then they failed. Rachel's voice came through, targeting their engines, firing now. The Valiant spoke. Dense slugs tore through the flagship's engines. Secondary explosions rippled through the ship. It went dark and began to drift. "Cease fire," ordered. "Open a channel to Or." The clan leader's face appeared. He looked stunned, unable to believe what had happened. "You have a choice," said. "Surrender and withdraw, or we destroy every ship you have. You came here for revenge. You found a fight instead. How many more of your people do you want to die today?" Or stared at her. Around him, his fleet was in ruins. He had started with 104 ships. Now less than 60 were still combat-capable, and they were scattered and demoralized. "You have beaten us," he said finally. "But this is not over. The clans will remember this." "Good," said. "Remember it well. Remember what happens when you attack innocents. Remember that humans will always come when children are in danger. And remember that we're not going anywhere." The fleet, collecting their damaged ships and retreating, watched them go, then turned to her crew. "Damage report." The Galactic Council chamber was packed. Every species with observer status had sent representatives. Even species that rarely attended were present. Everyone wanted to hear what would happen next. Ambassador Vincent Harper walked to the center of the chamber. He carried no data pads, no prepared speech. He didn't need them. The whole galaxy had watched the battle. They had seen 42 human ships defeat a fleet more than twice their size. Now they wanted answers. The council chair spoke first. "Ambassador Harper, the council has reviewed the recent engagement between human forces and the clans. We must address the implications of these events." "I'm ready to answer your questions, honored chair," Vincent said. "The first question is simple," said. What do humans want? Vincent had expected a dozen different questions. Accusations about military aggression, demands for apologies, threats about violating galactic law. He had not expected this. "We want the same thing we've always wanted," he said. "To explore, to learn, to trade, to live in peace." "Then why fight?" asked the counselor. "Why deploy a battle fleet? Why engage in open warfare with the clans?" "Because they attacked civilians, because they killed refugees, because children were in danger." Vincent looked around the chamber. "Is that really so hard to understand?" "Yes," the counselor said bluntly. "It is. Your species risked a major war to defend strangers from another civilization. The economic cost alone is staggering. The political risk is immense. And for what? 300 civilians you had never met." Vincent felt anger rising in his chest. He forced it down. These species had been in space for thousands of years. They had seen empires rise and fall. They had learned to calculate cost and benefit, to weigh political advantage against military risk. They had forgotten what it meant to simply do the right thing. "Let me tell you about humans," Vincent said. "We come from a planet that tried to kill us every day. Disease, predators, natural disasters. We survived because we learned to protect each other. We learned that the tribe mattered more than the individual, that children were sacred, that if we didn't stand together, we would die alone." He walked slowly around the chamber as he spoke. "We carried those lessons with us to the stars. When Captain Grant heard that distress call, he didn't calculate the risk. He didn't check with Earth Command. He didn't debate the political implications. He heard that children were dying and he acted. That's what humans do." "And look at the result," the counselor rumbled. "You have made an enemy of the clans. They will not forget this defeat. They will seek revenge." "Let them," Vincent said. "We'll be ready." "Will you?" And the counselor stood. "Ambassador, I respect your courage, but the clans control a significant portion of this galaxy. They have resources you cannot match. This battle may have been a victory, but can you sustain a long war?" Vincent met the warrior's eyes. "I don't know, but I know we won't stop protecting innocents. If that means war with then that's what we'll do." A new voice spoke. It was the transport captain. She had been invited to testify. "Honored counsel, may I speak?" Gestured permission, stood, her small frame trembling slightly. "I commanded the gentle current when they attacked. I watched them kill my crew in escape pods. I thought we would all die. Then a human ship arrived, one small vessel against 4 raiders. Captain Grant put his ship between us and death. He bought time with his own life." Her voice grew stronger. "Then more humans came, not soldiers, though soldiers came too, but merchants and miners, civilians. They abandoned their roots and their profits to save us. Strangers they had never met, and when I asked them why, they looked at me like I had asked why they breathe, because that is what humans are. They protect, they defend, they care." She turned to face Vincent. "The Confederacy owes humanity a debt we can never repay, but we can offer our friendship, our support, our alliance. Whatever comes next, humans will not face it alone." Vincent felt his throat tighten. He bowed to, "They are our friends, and friends protect each other," and spoke again. "They have been watching humanity since you entered galactic space. We have seen your violence, yes, but also your compassion, your willingness to sacrifice for others. The Council has debated this matter extensively. We have decided that humanity represents something the galaxy needs. Therefore, they offer a mutual defense pact. Attack humanity, and you attack us." The chamber erupted. They were a powerful military force. Their support would change everything. Called for order. "The Council cannot approve individual defense pacts without proper review." They do not require Council approval, and said calmly. "We are announcing our decision. They should consider this carefully before their next move." Other councilors began to speak. Some supported humanity, others warned about the dangers of rewarding violence. The debate raged for hours. Finally, Vincent raised his hand. "Honored Council, I have something to say." The chamber quieted. "Earth Command has authorized me to make a formal declaration. From this day forward, humanity will respond to any priority alpha situation anywhere in known space. If civilians are under attack, we will come. If children are in danger, we will fight. This is not a threat. This is a promise. Any species or faction that targets innocents will face human intervention." "You cannot police the entire galaxy," the counselor protested. "We're not policing," Vincent said. We're protecting, there's a difference. We don't care about your politics or your territorial disputes. We care about the innocent. Attack them and we'll stop you. This is madness, the counselor said. You are inviting conflict across 100 sectors. Maybe, Vincent agreed, but we're also inviting something else. Safety for civilians, protection for the weak. A galaxy where raiders think twice before attacking transports full of children. Stood Ambassador Harper, the council must discuss this matter further. We will adjourn for the day. Vincent nodded and left the chamber, was waiting outside. How did it go? She asked. Hard to say. Some species support us, others think we're insane, but the message is out there. The galaxy knows what we stand for now. His communicator buzzed. It was a message from Admiral Foster. The Third Fleet was returning to Earth, their mission complete, but Foster had left behind a permanent patrol in the region. Human ships would be watching those trade routes now. Vincent walked to the observation gallery and looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, Captain Grant was recovering from his injuries. Commander Rachel Stone was repairing the Valiant. Hundreds of civilians were alive because humans had answered a call. And across the galaxy, other species were watching, some with hope, some with fear, all with a new understanding of what it meant to threaten innocence when humans were around. 3 days later, Vincent received another message. It was from a small mining colony in Sector 9. They had detected a distress signal from a cargo ship under attack by unknown raiders. The colony had no military forces, no way to help. But they had something else. They had a human trade ship in orbit, captained by a woman named Lisa Cole. Lisa had heard the distress call. She had sent a priority alpha signal and was already moving to intercept. And across 3 sectors, human ships were changing course again. Vincent read the report and smiled. This was who humans were. This was what they did. You could call it reckless. You could call it dangerous. You could warn them about the risks and the costs. But when children were in danger, humans would always come. They couldn't help themselves. It was in their nature, forged over millions of years of evolution on a brutal world where protecting the tribe meant survival. The galaxy was learning this lesson. Some species would become allies, grateful for human protection. Others would become enemies, threatened by human interference. But everyone would know the truth. Humans were here, they were armed, they were dangerous, and they would fight for strangers with the same fury they fought for their own. On Earth, families watched the news coverage of the battle. They saw Admiral Foster accepting a medal, Captain Grant giving an interview from his hospital bed, the fighter pilots who had performed impossible maneuvers being celebrated as heroes. But they also saw something else. They saw the civilians who had survived, speaking tearfully about the humans who saved them. They saw a statement that humans were the bravest species she had ever encountered. And deep in Earth's military headquarters, fleet commanders were already planning. More ships were being built. New technologies were being developed. Patrol routes were being established across multiple sectors. Because the message from the galaxy was clear. Some species would test humanity's resolve. They would challenge these newcomers who claimed to be protectors, and Earth needed to be ready. But more than weapons and ships, they needed to remember why they fought. Not for conquest, not for power, but for the simple, fundamental truth that Captain Grant had acted on when he heard that first distress call. Children were in danger, and humans always came for their children, no matter whose children they were. Vincent stood in the observation gallery, watching ships come and go. A young officer approached him, a lieutenant named Brooks. "Sir, I've been assigned to the new patrol routes. I ship out tomorrow." "Good luck, Lieutenant. Stay safe." "Sir, can I ask you something? Why did we do all this? We could have avoided this whole situation. Let them handle their own problems, stayed out of galactic politics." Vincent looked at the young officer. He thought about Grant, facing death to buy time. About Rachel Stone pushing her engines past safe limits. About Lisa Cole already racing toward another distress call. "Because someone had to," Vincent said simply. "And if not us, then who? We have the ships, we have the will, we have people willing to fight for what's right. How could we know all that and still turn away?" Nodded slowly. "Yes, sir, I understand." As the lieutenant walked away, Vincent turned back to the stars. Somewhere out there, the next priority alpha signal was waiting. The next crisis. The next test of humanity's resolve. And when it came, humans would answer. Not because they sought glory or power, but because protecting innocence was what they did. It was who they were. The galaxy was starting to understand that, and some species were already beginning to appreciate having humanity as an ally. But for those who still preyed on the weak, who still attacked civilians, who still threatened children, there was a new reality to face. Humans were watching, humans were ready, and humans would always come when called. The SOS had summoned humanity's deadliest armada, but it had also revealed humanity's greatest strength, not their weapons or their ships or their tactical skill. Their absolute, unwavering commitment to protecting those who couldn't protect themselves. That was humanity's message to the galaxy, and the galaxy would never forget it. 12 ships with moderate damage, 3 ships with severe damage. Casualties are light, all things considered. We won, Admiral. Nodded, they had won, but she knew this was just the beginning. The galaxy had just learned something new about humanity. The question was, what would they do with that knowledge? All because they couldn't ignore a distress call. All because children were in danger. Vincent finished his message and sat back. They wanted to make an example of humanity. Well, humans could make examples too. And maybe it was time the galaxy learned what happened when you pushed a species that had survived everything Earth could throw at them. The game had changed. The stakes were higher. But humans had never backed down from a fight, especially when the innocent needed protecting. Let the come, humanity would be ready. She wondered if the galaxy understood what they were seeing. Humans didn't have the most advanced technology. They weren't the oldest species or the most powerful. But they had something else. Something that made them dangerous to anyone who threatened innocence. They had each other, and they would always come when called. The priority alpha alert had brought them, and soon the whole galaxy would know what that meant. And across 3 sectors of space, human ships were receiving the priority alpha alert. Cargo haulers were changing course. Patrol ships were engaging their fastest drives. Even civilian vessels were turning toward those coordinates. Because when a human ship sent priority alpha, it meant only one thing. Children were in danger, and humans always came for their children, even if they weren't human children at all. The raiders had no idea what was coming for them.